Hi, YouTube family. I'm here to tell you a story. It's a sad story. It's about me as a young girl. Well, I wasn't that young. I was 18, and I had an abortion. And I thought at the time I was doing the right thing. I didn't give it a lot of thought. I did give it thought, but I thought I'm too young. I was driven to be successful. I had problems when I was in school, and I was dyslexic, and I was held back when I was very young, and was told I would never really amount to anything. So I was striving so hard to graduate a year early, be successful. I was taking 7 classes a day. I was going to school and working and trying to be as successful as I could be. I was a virgin, and I met my future husband. But at the time, I was also getting a lot of pressure from kids at school. I was a senior, and it was October, and they were, you're a virgin, you're like the only virgin we know. And I'm like, well, I, don't want to deal with someone I don't love and I'm not ready to deal with. Well, years later, God showed me, started showing me visions. And He showed me it had affected me terribly. There's a story that happened with it. The picture behind me I painted basically how we erase a person on our family tree. And we just erase them. And we might think we're just dealing with that situation, that unwanted pregnancy. It's early stages. It's 6 weeks. It's 7 weeks. It's early. But nowadays it's late. It's almost even after birth they can choose to abort a baby. And this is me erasing that family tree and how it affected me, and how by me erasing that part of the family tree and who was with it, who I erased with it. This is what the story is about. So I will leave the tree in the background, and I will tell you the story. So I found out I was pregnant. I talked to my boyfriend. I talked to him about it. He was like, I'm not ready to have a baby. We'd only been dating like 3 months. So I went ahead and we made an appointment. And I went in. I was in child understanding classes. I wanted to be a teacher. I love children. I adore them. That's why this is so shocking to me that I even did this. So I went into the Planned Parenting, and in child understanding classes, they pretty much teach you at the time, and don't know what they're teaching now, that the baby is, there's no baby. It's a bunch of cells. It's an embryo, and there's really not anything alive. It's alive cells, and they're moving, and they're active, and they're becoming something, but there's no consciousness to anything. So anyway, I went, and he went. He actually bought me a teddy bear. We were so stupid. Gosh. Anyway, I heard the ladies in the room say somebody's boyfriend brought him a teddy bear. I said, oh, that's mine. I'm proud of it. And anyway, So they take me, they're talking to us all about it. There must have been at least 8 girls in there. We're all sitting at this low table, sitting on the floor, sitting on this low couch, chairs. And one by one they take us back. Well, it was my turn. They take me back into the room, and I had said, naively, scientifically, what can I see, what exactly the embryo looks like when you're done? She looks at me and she goes, oh, I guess. We've never had anyone ask that before. I said, okay. So I get in there, and they start the machine, and they start doing it. And I'm immediately in intense pain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this. And it wasn't the pain of I shouldn't have done this because it hurt. It was the pain of, what am I doing? This is wrong, you know. And I shouldn't be doing this is wrong. And then the pain got worse, and I hear the sucking sound. And it's just tearing. I feel this tearing away. And it just felt like a tearing away, a tearing from me. And I thought, oh my God, this is alive. It's attached to me. It doesn't want to leave. It's like I'm tearing the baby out of my body. I'm tearing it out. And it was almost like it didn't want to come. And I was starting to panic, and another lady comes in, and she's like, yeah, she's having a really hard time. And they're like, calm down. And I hear a male voice go, what have you done? What have you done? And I said, what have I done? It was in my head, I'm sure. I know it was Jesus. I had gone away from the church when I moved in with my mom. I'd been at church all the time with my dad. I moved to California, and we just didn't go to church. But I know it was Jesus. I know it was. And he said, what have you done? And I felt a punch in my gut of just remorse, of pain, of a deep, deep anguish of what I've done. Well, I left. I was over. She goes, would you like to see? I go, no. There's a tray she's holding. This metal tray with a little paper towel thing over the top of the little baby's remains. And I go, no, I don't want to see. I don't want to see what I've done. Well, after that we left and started having nightmares of babies dying. And I got over it and tucked it away into inside me. And every time I'd be around somebody that was going to have any troubles, any young person, I said, don't ever have an abortion. Don't ever do it. It's the worst thing you'll ever do. If you ever do it, don't ever do it. Well, I didn't realize the depth of that until years later, and we're talking within the last 9 months. No, not 9 months. The last 3 years, 4 years, when God showed me a vision. And I was asking for forgiveness for the 50 millionth time. And he had already forgiven me, but I hadn't forgiven myself for it. I love my children. I've lost my son at 24. He died. And I have 2 other children, a boy and a girl, and they're the most important thing in my life, and my grandchildren. And they're the best thing I ever did with my life. Well, God showed me that in a vision, he showed me I kept that baby. And it was difficult for a while. I lived at home and I was uncomfortable with people knowing I was pregnant, but I got over it. And when the baby came, it was a little girl, and I called her Sarah. And she always wanted to make the R in Sarah capital. Sarah, Sarah, with a capital R. Elaine, Elelane, my middle name, my mother's middle name, and my great-grandmother's middle name and maiden name. And she married. She grew up, and she was very much like me. We were very crafty, and she loved to paint, loved to make things, and she was like me. We were inseparable. And she was there for her brother, and he didn't die at 24 from drugs because his parents didn't go through all the things they went through, and it didn't put him through all the things he went through. And he had a big sister there to help him through it all. And she married a boy down the street. I was a neighbor, Paul. He was a photographer. She ended up being a set designer and event coordinator. They got married. They were very happy. They had 2 children. Barbara, she went by Barbie, middle name Elaine, and Clark Robert, named after my brother that passed away. He still passed away. He was young too during that time. His nickname was Booby Clark. That's what I called him. And the fact that they named him Clark was a reminder of that. But I loved the name Clark. And I erased them all. I erased them all. And I had no idea what I did. The depth of what God's plan was for my life. Because I was selfish and self-centered and afraid. And I just thought, it's just a bunch of cells. But let me tell you, in the Bible, what I ran across. I'm reading it. Psalms 139, verse 13. For I created my innermost being. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in a secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Then I ran across this. I am the vine. You are the branches. In verse 15 of John, it says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, and every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes. Well, you ask, well, how did God know? How did God know they were going to, if God knows all this, why doesn't he tell us something? Free will. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 23. But God has put the body together, giving great honor to parts that lack it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, all parts suffer with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. And then the Lord stopped me at this today. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether throne or power or ruler or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He before all things, and in all things hold together. And he is the head of the body of the church, and he is the beginning and the firstborn among the dead, so that in everything he might have supremacy. For God was pleased to have all this fulfillment dwell in him, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. I can't take it back, this abortion. I can't take back this part of the family. I can't bring any of it back. And I've been forgiven. But if you have not asked for forgiveness and repented of this, and you've had abortion, you have got, male and female, you have got to repent for it, because it is murder. We have murdered our child. And there's such a consequence to that throughout all of life. And we may not see it right then, but it is woven in through the fabric of us. And we won't know until the end what we've lost. But then it's kind of too late, isn't it? So repent. And if you know anyone, if you're thinking of having an abortion, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It is the worst thing that you'll ever do. It truly, truly is the worst thing you'll ever do. Just don't do it. Just let the baby live. Give it up for adoption. Don't abort it. That's my story. I pray to God it helps someone. Goodbye. For now.